Welcome back to the Authority Advantage podcast. I'm Modesta Mahiga, your host and founder and CEO of Authority Global LLC. Today, we're going to explore the concept of authority signals, what your target audience must observe to trust you with authority. It's key to understand how authority signals work because decisions to trust, endorse, and select you are rarely made at the moment of consequence. They're usually the outcome of a long observation period. By the time a public appointment is announced, a board member is selected, a chief executive is hired, a founder receives funding, or a leader is invited into a strategic conversation, people have often been forming opinions about them for months or years. The decision becomes visible in a moment. The evaluation rarely begins there. Most leaders underestimate this reality. They assume their qualifications speak for themselves. They assume their experience is obvious. They assume their expertise is self-evident. It is not. People can only evaluate what they can see. And what they see are signals, authority signals. The articles you publish, the perspectives you share, the interviews you give, the speeches you deliver, the problems you're known for solving, the associates that trust you, the people willing to publicly endorse you, the positions you consistently take, the body of work you leave behind. Over time, curated intentionally, not left to chance, but curated intentionally, these signals begin telling a story about your expertise, a story about your judgment, a story about your credibility, a story about whether others should trust you. And that story becomes extremely important because authority is not what you know. Authority is what your audience believes about you, what you know, and whether they can trust you to deliver. That belief is formed over time through repeated exposure to evidence. This is why authority is largely a function of time, not because it takes decades to build, but because trust compounds. Every authority signal gives your audience another opportunity to observe you, another opportunity to learn from you, another opportunity to evaluate your thinking, another opportunity to decide whether you're someone worth following, trusting, appointing, funding, promoting, electing, endorsing, or selecting. The leaders who understand this start early. They do not wait until they need the opportunity. They begin building authority long before the opportunity appears, because they understand a simple truth. People rarely decide who they trust in moments of consequence. Moments of consequence reveal who they've already learned to trust. That is why authority signals matter. Authority signals are the visible pieces of evidence that allow others to understand your expertise, evaluate your judgment, and develop confidence in your leadership over time. They're not about self-promotion. They're not about becoming famous. They're not about chasing attention. They're about helping the right audience develop trust before trust is required. Each signal adds another layer of familiarity, another layer of credibility, another layer of trust. Over time, those layers can compound into authority, but only if they're built intentionally. This is where many leaders go wrong. They assume authority emerges naturally from being active. It doesn't. A leader can spend years speaking, posting, attending events, serving committees, and participating in industry conversations without ever becoming known for anything specific. Activity alone does not create authority. Visibility alone does not create authority. Even expertise alone does not create authority. Authority is created when your signals consistently reinforce a clear conclusion in the minds of the people you want to influence. What do you want to be known for? What problem do you want to be associated with solving? What expertise do you want people to trust you for? What unique perspective do you want decision makers to remember when your name comes up in a room where opportunities are being discussed? Authority compounds when signals are aligned, when they're strategic, when they're consistent, when they repeatedly point toward the same expertise, the same value, and the same leadership narrative. Otherwise, you're simply creating noise. The market does not reward noise. It rewards clarity. And the leaders who become authorities are usually the leaders who are most intentional about the signals they leave behind. The passage of time alone does not create authority. Time simply amplifies whatever signals you've been sending. This is why waiting is so expensive. Every month you delay building authority signals is another month the market is becoming familiar with someone else. Another month, someone else's expertise is becoming associated with the challenges you're equally capable of solving. Another month, someone else's authority is compounding while yours remains largely invisible. The best time to begin building authority signals was years ago. The second best time is today. Which brings me to a question. If your most important opportunity appeared tomorrow, what evidence would decision makers find today? What story would your authority signals tell? Would they discover a leader whose expertise, judgment, and impact have been visible for years? Would they find a clear authority footprint? Would they find evidence that you're the person they should trust? Or would they find someone who assumed qualifications alone would be enough? It is a question worth considering because opportunities rarely arrive with enough time to build authority. Oh, I'm going to say that again. This is worth considering because opportunities rarely arrive with enough time to build authority. Authority is often what determines who receives the opportunity in the first place. If you'd like to understand what authority signals you're currently sending, what conclusions others may be drawing from them, where your strongest authority assets exist, and where critical gaps may be limiting your influence, I invite you to book an authority blueprint diagnostic. Together, we'll assess your authority footprint, identify opportunities to strengthen your positioning, and help you become more intentional about the signals you're sending to the audiences that matter most. I'm going to share the link in the show notes. I'm Modesta Mahiga. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Authority Advantage podcast. Until next time.